Good morning, students. Here we come up with a very short and important topic with respect to MCQs and short answer questions. Extensor retinaculum, upper limb. Now in the extensor retinaculum of the upper limb, here we go with the definition. The extensor retinaculum definition will be, it is an oblique fibrous band which is derived from the deep fascia, which stretches across the dorsum of the wrist to retain the extensor tendons in proper position. This is the definition of the extensor retinaculum. Now we come up with the attachments. What will be the attachment? Since it is a derivative of the deep fascia which is present on the dorsum of the wrist, so the attachments will be from, supposing over here if we draw a line diagram, if we represent this as radius, and over here if we represent this as triquetral and pisiform bone, triquetral and pisiform bone, here our retinaculum will be extending. It is an oblique fibrous band which is directed downwards and medially, So laterally it will be attached to the anterior border of the radius. This is where it is attached, laterally to the anterior border of the radius over here. From there it is directed obliquely downwards and forwards, in this manner, which is attached medially to the two bones, triquetral and pisiform bone. Remember, it is not attached to ulna. Otherwise, if it is attached to ulna, it will prevent pronation. That is why it is not attached to ulna. It is only attached to triquetral and pisiform bones. This is the direction of extensor retinaculum. So if you draw the extensor retinaculum in this way, this is how it is attached laterally from the anterior border of the radius, laterally, and medially it is directed obliquely downwards medially to triquetral and pisiform bones. What is the importance of this? How MCQs or one-liner question answers can be asked with respect to its compartments. From the dorsum of this extensor retinaculum, from its deep surface rather, from the deep surface it will send various vertical septa which will divide the dorsal end of the lower end, the dorsum of the lower end of the radius and ulna, because over here there will be ulna, this is the portion of radius. It will divide the posterior surface of the lower end of radius and ulna into 6 osseofacial compartments. So from the deep surface of this extensor retinaculum, it will send vertical septa which will divide the deep part of extensor retinaculum, and this deep part of extensor retinaculum is divided into 6 osseofacial compartments through which various important structures are passing, which can be asked in MCQ or one-mark question answer. And all these structures are passing dorsum to the lower end of radius and ulna. Here we come up with the next diagram. In the next diagram, we draw the cross section of the radius and ulna itself. The cross section of the radius and ulna. This is a very important diagram. If you memorize this diagram, each and every compartments and each and every structures will be very clear. So here we come up with the ulna. Now this is the ulna. Rather we can elongate this styloid process of ulna. This is the styloid process of ulna. This is the head of the ulna. So this is the dorsum of the ulna, head and styloid process of ulna, lower end. And remember, this is a cross section, and here we draw the radius bone, and this radius bone, it will be in this way. We draw the radius bone 1, 2, 3 and 4. In this way we draw the cross section of the dorsum of the radius and ulna, and here simply to denote this is radius. This is how we draw the radius. Remember, it is a cross section of the dorsum of radius and ulna. Here we are showing the head and styloid process. If we want to show complete cross section, then we can show this cross section in this way, and this is the cross section of the radius over here, cross section of radius. This is the cross section of the ulna. So head of ulna and styloid process. Now our extensor retinaculum, the oblique fibrous band. Remember, from the anterior border of radius, this is the anterior border of the radius, dorsum of the anterior border of radius, it is extending. Remember, laterally it is attached to the dorsum of anterior border of radius. From there it will extend down, it will extend obliquely downwards and medially towards the triquetral and pisiform bone. So here you leave this in a sense that it will be attached medially to triquetral and pisiform bones, but in this diagram, no need to show the triquetral and pisiform bone. Sorry, this is our extensor retinaculum. Now, as I told you, vertical septors will divide the entire structure present deep to extensor retinaculum into 6 compartments, 6 osseofacial compartments. And through these compartments, different structures are going to pass, which is very important, which can be asked in MCQ or 1 mark question answer. And these structures will pass dorsum to lower end of radius as well as ulna. Now here, these compartments are, first compartment is this one, vertical septa you send it, second compartment, third, then the fourth, and then fifth, and then the sixth compartment. In this way, now here if I mention first compartment, second compartment, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. First compartment is dorsum to lateral surface of the radius, dorsum to lower end but lateral side of the radius. Second compartment will be, this second compartment is very important, it is lateral to dorsal tubercle of Lister. So here if I draw and show it, this is the dorsal tubercle of Lister, and this is many times asked in MCQs. 1 mark question answer. Second compartment is lateral to dorsal tubercle of Lister. Third compartment is medial to the dorsal tubercle of Lister. Fourth compartment will be present just posterior to the distal end of radius. Fifth compartment will be posterior to lower end of radius and ulna both, and sixth compartment will be posterior to the lower end of the ulna, that is a groove between its ulnar head and stellate process of ulna, sixth compartment. Now what are the structures? Structures which are passing through each compartment will have the various tendons with their individual synovial sheaths, and the various tendons with their individual synovial sheaths, here we go. The first compartment has 2 tendons with its individual synovial sheath, and the individual synovial sheath, the 2 tendons will be abductor pollicis longus and there will be extensor pollicis brevis. So the first compartment will allow the passage of abductor pollicis longus, and extensor pollicis brevis. First compartment will allow the passage of 2 structures, abductor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis brevis, each tendon with its separate synovial sheath. Second compartment, again second compartment will allow the passage of 2 more tendons with their individual synovial sheath, and these tendons will be abductor pollicis, the extensor carpi radialis longus and extensor carpi radialis brevis. So here we go with extensor carpi radialis longus and extensor carpi radialis brevis. These are the 2 tendons which will pass through the second compartment of extensor retinaculum. First compartment was abductor pollicis longus and extensor pollicis brevis. Second compartment will allow the passage of 2 tendons, extensor carpi radialis longus and extensor carpi radialis brevis. Third compartment will allow the passage of only 1 structure with its synovial sheath, and that structure will be extensor pollicis longus. So extensor pollicis longus, third compartment. Remember here the question can be asked as, which structures are passing lateral to dorsal tubercle of Lister? The structures which are passing lateral to dorsal tubercle of Lister will be extensor carpi radialis longus and extensor carpi radialis brevis. Which structures are passing medial to the dorsal tubercle of Lister? That is third compartment. Structure is extensor pollicis longus. So please note that this dorsal tubercle of Lister is present between second and third compartment. Now we come to fourth compartment. Fourth compartment will have 4 tendons of extensor digitorum. It will have the 4 tendons of extensor digitorum and extensor indicis. And remember, all these tendons will be present in a same synovial sheath. That is, it will have the same synovial sheath which will surround these tendons. So therefore, if these are the tendons, I can show that it will be surrounded in a common synovial sheath. All these tendons, the 4 tendons of extensor digitorum plus 1 tendon of extensor indicis will have a common synovial sheath, but they are passing through the 4th compartment, which is present just dorsal to the posterior surface of the radius. So here you can mark this as tendons of extensor digitorum and this is the extensor indicis tendon. All the four tendons of extensor digitorum plus extensor indicis in a common synovial sheath. Fifth compartment behind the dorsum of the radius and ulna. Here there will be the tendon of, here it will allow the passage of the tendon of extensor digiti minimi. So this is extensor digiti minimi over here, extensor digiti minimi with its individual synovial sheath passing through fifth compartment, which is present between radius and ulna. Now sixth compartment. In the sixth compartment, there will be the tendon with its separate synovial sheath, and that tendon with separate synovial sheath, sixth compartment, will be known as the extensor carpi ulnaris. So this is extensor carpi ulnaris. The extensor carpi ulnaris, which is passing across the dorsum of the posterior surface of the ulna between the head and sternal process, compartment number 6. So these are the 6 compartments present dorsum to the wrist or dorsum to lower end of radius and the carpal bones, in which through these 6 compartments which are present deep to the extensor retinaculum, various structures are passing. Very important from MCQ's 1 point question answers point of view. First compartment deep to extensor retinaculum, the first compartment over the lateral surface of the lower end of the radius will lodge 2 structures, that is adductor pollicis longus and extensor pollicis brevis. Second compartment, which is present lateral to dorsal tubercle of Lister, will lodge 2 structures, extensor carpi radialis longus and extensor carpi radialis brevis. Third compartment, medial to Lister's tubercle, will lodge 1 tendon, 1 structure, which is called extensor pollicis longus. Fourth compartment, which is at the dorsum of the lower end of the radius, will lodge 4 tendons of extensor digitorum and extensor indicis. Fifth compartment will lodge extensor digiti minimi present between radius and ulna. And sixth compartment, which is present dorsum to the ulna between the head and sternal process, there is a groove that lodges the sixth compartment as extensor carpi ulnaris. Here, these are the compartments of extensor retinaculum, deep to extensor retinaculum, as this vertical septa from this extensor retinaculum, this is our extensor retinaculum, and the deep septa from this extensor retinaculum, you can see this deep septa, they are dividing the posterior surface or the dorsum of the wrist into 6 different compartments through which these structures are passing. This is the importance of extensor retinaculum. If a short note is asked of extensor retinaculum, please draw and mark these structures. Otherwise, this is very important, each and every compartment and the structures passing through it with respect to Lister's tubercle for MCQs or one-liner question answer. Thank you very much.